Jessica, thank you for joining me today on Pop Culture Unplugged.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited to be here.
We have 213 Bones coming out August 24th. How excited are you about this project that's finally getting released?
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. It was the best experience from start to finish. So now the fact that we get to share it with everyone, we're all looking forward to it.
What was the journey like? How did you get approached for Laurie?
Um, I mean, the audition came through, and there are a few things that like immediately jumped out to me. Number one, the fact that it was going to be based in the 90s. That's something that doesn't come around very often. So I think everybody would enjoy like a day back in the 90s at least. So knowing that like the wardrobe, the hair and makeup, all the cars they were going to use were going to immediately transport you back, that was like a no-brainer. And then on top of that, the fact that it is not just horror, but horror whodunit too. That's one of my favorite, shows to be an audience for because the whole time you're piecing it together, second guessing yourself, and then you get the big reveal at the end. So, I mean, I jumped on the opportunity.
What went through like your mindset when you're reading the script?
I mean, the whole time I'm honestly wondering who did it. And if you talk to the other cast members too, like not a single one of us got it right.
Mm.
So that's good to know too. I think it's really well written. But at the same time, I hope when people do see it, they go back and maybe give it a second watch because there are some Easter eggs there if you look and are an eagle eye watcher, I guess.
Mm. What kind of description were you given for Laurie when you first jumped on set, or like when you were first reading the script and you were about to audition for this role?
Yeah. So that she was very professional, very straight-laced. She takes her job very seriously. There were hints of a relationship that happened in the past, and now she's having to work alongside who was in that relationship with her.
Mm.
But it really leaned into more of her backstory and more of her professionalism, which is interesting.
Any input in your character when you jumped on there to play it between you
Yeah.
and the
Oh my
director?
gosh. Absolutely. And that's one of the greatest things about Jeff was that he was so interactive with us. He was so open to hearing what came up for us when we were going through the script, um, from like day one all the way to when we were actually on set performing. He wanted to hear everything and he was so flexible. And ultimately, we did. We worked on, a big scene at the end together very closely to where we both felt like we did Laurie justice. And yeah, it came from both of us. But that sometimes is rare. You don't get that opportunity all the time. So that was to me once in a lifetime.
What was your favorite thing about playing a character in the 90s, would you say?
Oh man. I love fashion. I'm a sucker for
Okay.
anything fashion related. And that to me, like even in the the try on the first wardrobe day, I'm putting on, things that were like Banana Republic back in the day. It was just like a blast from the past, or all the shows that I fell in love with growing up. It felt like, I had just been plucked from there. And seeing like one of the actresses, Tony, her character, they do like the big bangs in the front.
Okay.
So I think it's all of the costuming around it that I loved the most.
Hmm. For you now, like how did you approach to play, someone with like such a dark side also in that movie?
Man, it was really, I think, and most importantly, I think because in any story, nobody ever sees themselves as the villain. And that
Yeah.
was the biggest part for me was never to play that side of it. Because in their head, that's not, I had to figure out where she was coming from, what happened, who did it, how long has this been going on for, and I had to maybe not agree with all of her choices, but at least do my due diligence to understand her and figure out, okay, there's been a long history of something going on, and that's how this felt like the only way out, basically. So
What was your
finding the
what
truth in it.
yeah, what was your reaction when you found out that you're part of the killing?
Um, I was surprised for sure.
Hmm.
But it was so exhilarating, exciting. That's like, it honestly was a dream role for me because essentially you're playing two characters in one. You're playing the one that is unmasked and out in daylight, and everybody trusts you, and you're the go to bring justice. And then come nighttime, you're the one who's doing it. And then at the end, you get to reveal why, and you get to just finally let it all out. So I absolutely loved it and was so game to play her.
Did you go back to watch any other type of similar films to get an idea how you wanted to dive into this also? Play a little bit
Yes,
different than others?
for sure. The biggest film I think would have been Fatal Attraction.
Okay.
Watching Glenn Close, that's like the biggest masterclass of, yes, like having the terrifying element, but also not ever losing the humanity behind it. So that's ultimately how I built Laurie, was making sure that, I'm not playing crazy. I'm not playing
Yeah.
shock. I'm playing truth. And so Fatal Attraction was like on almost every night for me.
That's awesome. Well, for you, like, what was the most challenging part you think with this character?
um, I think, and working with Jeff, he made it so much easier, but it was figuring out like how much to lean into those Easter eggs. Um, so, like, for example, there's a kill scene that happens one night, where the killer is briefly strangled. And I mean, the killer ultimately wins, of course, but the next day, you can't then just like walk into the cafe totally fine. There has to be some little thread of what happened before. So, for an eagle eye watcher, maybe they're going to notice, but Laurie's wardrobe really came in clutch because her wardrobe is very much so like an armor. So she's got like the turtleneck all the way up high. So even if there was a mark, you're not going to catch it. But in that scene, she's like clearing her throat a little. She pops a cough drop. So there's some little secrets there, but it definitely was tinkering with how much of this are we going to reveal where it's not concrete evidence, but for somebody who really likes to follow along and track it, it's there.
How about scenes? Was there any difficult scenes, any stunts that you were a part of? Tell us a little about that.
Yeah, and I was really fortunate. My stunt double was incredible, and it was great, just hanging out with her and getting to see all the heavy hitting that went on. But I think of falling into the to a bookcase was a really big one, and even just like the timing of it, the fact that like all stunt work is really choreography.
Right.
So even like at one point, I'm like swinging a pot, but the pot has to hit like the perfect spot on the lens so that it covers it completely. Um, just getting into that world where it's so specific, it's so planned. It's a very highly skilled job that I really got to experience firsthand and come to appreciate even more.
Think about horror and thriller movies like this. Fans love these type of movies. Like, what are you hoping for they get out of this when they tune in to watch this?
Yeah, I'm really excited. I hope people are surprised. That's number one. I think
Hmm.
if people are surprised, we did it right. And then secondly, I hope that there's a strong enough appeal and just appreciation for it that they want to go back and watch again and again to see if they can start clocking all of those little hints that are tucked in there. Um, but yeah, I think that the fandom that's there for horror in general is such a gracious one, and they're always so just, I think, giving of their time and their support. That I have no doubt that that'll be there for us too when we have our premiere.
Now, have you done any screenings, any private screenings where people have watched it and you've been part of?
So I haven't personally, but
Okay.
I do know that our producers and our director were a part of some screenings that took place to see if there were some people, not only clocking who did it, but also just to get some feedback on different music
Yeah.
takes, different cuts in and out. So yeah, there were a couple, but I unfortunately I didn't get to see them.
But what did you hear about the feedback? That's where I was going with the question.
Yeah, great feedback. A lot of people, surprise was there, which is great. And a lot of people were dead set that it was so many other characters, and they gave good reason for it, which means that the Easter eggs that maybe would have taken you off track are there
Mm,
too. So overall, it was a really good report back that it's a well written and well executed.
mm. I know it comes out, we mentioned August 24th. How can people see it?
So it's going to be premiering at Fright Fest in London on August 24th. It'll be on the main stage there. And then from there, we're hoping that there'll be some distribution that follows so that it can take wide nationally. We'll see. But and Halloween timing is a dream, of course.
There you go. So, in other words, you will do another one of type of these movies if you get a chance.
Oh my
You would.
gosh, hands down, yes. It's I think that the horror genre is the most fun on set because it's just you're playing with extremes all day long. It's honestly like riding a roller coaster, and I would dive back in a heartbeat.
What's next for you now? Any other projects you're allowed to tell us about before we end this?
Yeah, there are a couple coming up. One is a dark comedy called Forlock, and the plot, of course, is still under wraps, but it was shot all in LA, which was super
Oh,
exciting. And we're hoping for a release in 2026. And then there's another that I can somewhat tease. It's coming up in December of this year. It is a series, and it I can say maybe it dips a toe in the superhero world.
we'll have to get you back on. We'll talk more about that.
Yeah, I'd love that.
Francesca, I want to thank you for giving me a few minutes today. Good luck with the film. And like I said, let's get you back on and talk about future projects.
Thank you. Absolutely.